Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today we're supposed to be concluding our Shark Week, Shark Month extravaganza like we always do. But unfortunately, we had some bad information on the comic we read this week, which was The Anchor. When we looked up like sea monsters and stuff, because we had to kind of expand from sharks because we ran out of shark material, it said The Anchor was part of that. But I think whatever website said that was off. There is a boat for about 2 panels, and he does fight monsters, but there's nothing about sea monsters in this book. So but it did win the poll. Or it tied the poll, I should say. So we're going to do it. But then since we assume the people that voted for this were Patreon members, because those are the people who can vote for the second episode every month, we will do a shark book we found, which is a manga called Killer Shark in a New World, for the exclusive this month. So we will be doing a hopefully badass shark book. It looks, just from the cover, pretty awesome. It's about a shark, a great white shark, murdering people in another world. So hopefully you guys can forgive us for finding the wrong information on the internet.
I'll take the L on that one. There's again, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and that one I assumed it was some old sea captain that was going to be fighting sea monsters at least, and that was not the case. Nor the Jabberjaw I put on there. I was a special issue, just one issue though, so only like 40 pages. So yeah. Again, scraping the bottom of the barrel, and we'll see how Shark Month continues. But for now, I will say, at least giving this story, I feel like overall it was enjoyable. So I am glad we read it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fine enough comic, so hopefully people will enjoy the episode. But we apologize for the lack of shark material or sea monster material in this comic called The Anchor that we did this week. So this book is by Phil Hester, and what was the artist's name? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's Brian Churilla, I believe.
Yeah, I haven't read anything by Phil Hester. But Phil Hester is a artist who worked on Swamp Thing for a while. So I'm aware of him, but I've never heard of this artist before. Had you heard of either of them?
Not specifically, no. I looked at it. Looked like Brian has done some Hellboy, which kind of makes sense because he does have a very Mike Mignola kind of feel to him from this comic. Yeah, from what I saw, he has done some side work on some Hellboys.
Okay. This book is called The Five Furies, which it should be called The 3.5 Furies, I think, to be correct. Because this book does leave you on a cliffhanger. It expects you to read the second volume, which is out, which I assume finishes the story. But this first volume just covers like about half the story. So we start off with The Anchor. I don't know. Does he have another name? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's Clem.
Well, someone calls him Clem, I guess, because he's got a medal of St. Clemens, right? Or is that correct? St. Clementine?
Yeah, on his belt.
So, but this is like he's in. We start off with him like in hell, battling the forces of hell. Then we cut to like current day. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it's current day because there's like old school TVs. No one has cell phones. There was something else that was like, oh, this must be in the 90s. I can't remember what it was. Oh, that's like the news reporter had like a VHS tape in his camera. So I was like, oh, this must be the 90s. But either way, we just kind of are thrown into 90s current day, where a big ice monster is attacking the city of Reykjavik in Iceland. And like the city's evacuating, and this one lady's like there to visit her grandma, who she's not. Or actually, is it a grandma or is it just someone that's there?
I think it's just someone that's there. I think she's just a volunteer.
And her name was what again?
Hoffy or Hofi?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll say Hafi. So she's an Icelandic woman. Everybody speaks English. I was kind of surprised they didn't do the little like caret on each side, which designates that they're speaking, I guess, Icelandic or whatever they speak. And so I thought that was weird, but everybody's speaking English, including the guy who comes in the door next, which is Clem, the guy from Hell. They don't really explain how we got from Hell to here for a little bit, but basically he's like two people. There's the earthbound body and the soul. And the soul is in hell fighting demons and demon armies. And the body up top is fighting earthly monsters. We don't know how that happened or like why, or has he been here forever, or did this just happen? We don't know. But he does say like, I was in Northumbria, which apparently is what England used to be called back in the day. Did you get any of this? Like why anybody would know him or...
No, I don't think it seems like it still was left a mystery for the most part. Like we get a little bit of backstory as it goes on, but still like we're getting pieces of it. We're still not getting much of it.
Yeah, but there's nothing from present day in his past that we see. Like
no,
everything's back in Viking times and stuff. So and like to prove like what he's saying, because of course the woman, what's her name? Hafi, she's like, oh, this guy's obviously crazy. And I should describe him. He looks like Andre the Giant. And except he's got a beard and his skin is purple and his eyes are yellow. But he's wearing like just pants, no shirt. He's very buff and yoked out. He's like way bigger than everybody. So like, she's like, oh, he must be crazy because he's talking about fighting in hell and stuff. But then as she's talking to him, his chest rips open because his soul just experienced some sort of attack in hell. And I guess it cut his earth skin as well, or his second skin. So he starts spewing blood all over her. So then she's like, I guess I believe you. I don't know. And then we find out that he like fought with the monster, and that's why he came to the hospital, I guess, because he was injured. Or did he just show up there because he got thrown there?
I think it seemed like he got thrown, and so he just happened to be near the hospital, and so he like stumbled in.
We do see as he's like being treated by her, he's like healing fast, so there's not even a need for him to go to the hospital. But there's some like weird mummified bad person, we can assume, who's wearing a Russian hat. So I don't know who this is supposed to be. I'm going to assume it's Rasputin just because. But it just looks like a mummified Russian dude because he's got the Russian hat on. But and when I say Russian hat, I mean like the fuzzy like winter hat that they wear. But he's like, I don't know, he's just kind of like a bad omen or something. You can tell it, like it doesn't seem like anybody can see him, and he's like, you will die. Like he's just being like evil, and saying that like he wants this bad guy, or this guy Clem, he wants him to die. So but Clem leaves the hospital and just automatically starts fighting this ice monster again. He's losing until Hafi goes up to him and says, hey, if you really do have your soul in hell, why doesn't your soul capture, and the reverse thing can happen to your soul that happened to you, where his soul got hurt in hell and he started bleeding. Well, what if your soul grabbed a fire demon, so then you would be like super hot and on fire in hell, but then your hands here would be on fire and hot as well, and then you could fight the ice demon or the ice monster. So he's like, good idea. So that happens. He easily kills this ice demon, punches through his back, I guess, and rips out the ice demon's heart. and proceeds to eat a piece of it, a good chunk out of it. He doesn't eat the whole thing. He just needs to take a bite. But he says like it's a necessity to do that. Just cause. But then as he does, he takes a bite and he passes out because we start issue 2. We find out a little bit about his past. Basically, every time he takes a bite out of these hearts, we get a flashback of a little bit more of his past. And it's also him revealing to him more of his past. But we see him coming out, we see him as a human coming out of the water. And it looks like he's getting on an island and he's carrying a big anchor. And he is found by a woman who is a monk or works for monks. I don't know, a holy woman, I guess, who takes care of him. And she cleans him up a bit, and because she's the one who names him Clem because she sees his medal of, what's it called? What are those called?
Yeah, it's like I thought it was like a rosary, but I guess in this case it was an anchor on it, so it's like just a prayer symbol, a prayer
medal. I don't know what those are like. Don't they have little ones you can buy for each saint?
Each saint, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So whatever those are called, I don't know. So that's why she names him that. So, but then as he comes out of that, he yells a name, or like he comes back to present and he yells out Strathclyde, which apparently is the old name for Scotland. And then as he comes to, he's got Hoffy. Is it Hoffy? Is that her name?
Yeah.
I'm going to forget every time. Hoffy's with him. Then there's like a TV crew that was filming this whole thing for the news, and they want to talk to him and interview him. And then supposedly the cops are on the way. And then we also see the mummy guy, the Russian mummy guy, who is like telling him he's going to like die in this the locks of, I'm assuming, Scotland or whatever. So, but it seems like no one can really see this guy. Except our main guy, Clem. He sees him, but he's too out of it to really pay attention to what this mummified dude is doing. So, Hoffy wants to go with him to Scotland, but he's like, no. And he just like hangs her up on like a pole that was broken or whatever. And then we cut to the government. The American government somehow is tracking all of this, I guess, as they would. So we find out that they are interested in what's going on, and they're going to go after Clem as well. And then we cut to a boat where apparently Clem doesn't understand like how to get to Scotland from Iceland in the like modern world. So he actually had to have Hoffy help him charter a boat. And basically we just find like he's not susceptible to any cold or anything. Like nothing hurts him basically. So then they finally get to Scotland. And as they get there, it's like, hey, you can't come into this loch area, which a loch is a lake area. It's like off limits because something's going on inside. But Clem is like nuts to that. That's where the demon is. It seems like he's drawn to them, right? Like they call to him.
I think so. Yeah. Like there's something, because there's one thing that they keep making a point to is like somehow he is like got some kind of holy thing about him. Like maybe that happened at the place where the monks were. But he's got some like, oh, and obviously he's in two places at once, right? Because he's in hell and he's here on earth, at least the soul and the body or whatever. So yeah, it's like there's something kind of spiritual aspect to this, that because he also keeps like lightly quoting things from the Bible, and because that's what Hoffy mentioned, like she recognized a psalm or something, he said. But although he didn't realize that, he's like, what's a psalm? So
right,
so
because he came out before the psalms were a thing, or at least before the Bible was a thing.
Yeah, and so it's just interesting to try to pick up on like what that connection is, because we're not quite getting it yet.
Yeah. So as he jumps into this lock area that's off limits, he finds the bike of a child that's all torn up, and then the ghost of that child is there. And he sees the kid, and the kid's like, hey, you can see me? And they kind of like hang out together. And they're friends now. They immediately became friends because the kid is like, no one else can see me except you. So, and then it turns out that the kid was just recently killed by whatever the monster is that's in this lock area. And then they go over a hill and they basically see this giant, I think it's a moose centaur. This is what it looks like. It's a centaur that has a moose skull on its head. Does that make sense? Is that what you thought it was?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. But I think when when they fight, I think he is just a centaur, and that happens like he's wearing a skull.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like it's a centaur because it's like half horse, half man on top, but his head has a moose skull on top of it as like a helmet. So, so this thing, of course, immediately attacks, and it can't hurt the ghost kid, so that's good. But it starts attacking Clem. And Clem's hitting it with everything he's got, and it is not working. And eventually, this I don't know what you call it. This centaur, we'll call him centaur. This centaur stabs Clem with his horns, and then Clem is asking how are you so strong? Like, why can't I hurt you? And then the centaur says, and I can only die by my own hand. And so then Clem's like, oh, why didn't you say that? Now he's got the horn sticking out of his chest. So he just breaks off one of the horns and then he like stabs and decapitates the centaur because the weapon is made from the centaur.
Yeah, he told him how to kill him.
Even though, I'll say this, that's not the centaur. That is the moose helmet he's wearing. So,
touche.
But I guess that works. I mean, that would be like him taking the little Scottish shirt or whatever he's got on. He doesn't have a shirt. He's got like a plaid scarf or something. The centaur has. If he just choked him with that. Because, it's like something he's wearing. It's like the same thing.
He's just wearing it. That's true. I didn't think about that.
I thought that was his head for a while. Until after he beheads him. And then we see, oh, it's just a dude's head underneath. And then I was like, wait. Then you didn't kill him with himself. Because the moose skull is not part of him. But I digress. Then he reaches in and grabs this monster's heart. I will say this monster was much smaller than the other one, like much less scary or whatever, or like damaging. I don't know. What do you think of this centaur monster?
Yeah, he didn't seem as intimidating, and he took care of him pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it looked like he was getting beat up, but then he immediately figured out how to beat him. So yeah, he just takes a bite out of that heart. Or he takes the heart. He doesn't bite it yet. And then everybody comes in the park and they're telling him to stop and everything. Because like he broke the rules. So they, I guess, ran in after him. And then they find the dead body of this centaur and they're like, what the hell? So the ghost kid is with Clem and then Hoffy runs over to him and she can see the kid. She's like, what the hell? How is this possible? Then we cut to hell. And this part kind of confused me. So we see, I don't know, one of the kings of hell or something. That he's the guy that Clem's spirit is fighting in hell. But he's got the head of one of his generals or whatever in his hands, like the centaur just lost his head. So are we to assume that this demon is like Rita Repulsa and he like conjures up a stand-in in the real world for his generals on Earth that they can command?
Yeah, I mean, I it seemed like he like that, something like that, because although the head didn't look the same, because the head definitely looks a little more. No. Yeah, it looks kind of grotesque and. Well,
that's what I mean. Like he's making it like whatever an Earth version of it, Like
yes, I don't know. It was kind of hard to tell. I didn't pick up on like whoever this Hell King guy is there. I guess his name is General Ling. I don't know how you pronounce it. But they him and then some of the other minions of that guy mentioned Satan as well a couple times. So like, he's obviously a high up, a leader guy, but he's not he's not the top of hell or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It was a little weird because we get the back and forth, but the stuff in hell we don't actually get too much of the story build there.
Yeah, we only cut in between sometimes, and then it's like this. We just see him holding a head and being like, "He destroyed this general," and it's like, wait, is that the one? Because he's holding a head, so it's like, wait, is that the head that was cut off on the centaur? And this is like just that was an avatar of this demon on Earth or something. So they don't really explain it. That was one of my like, why is this even here? They could have just had the top story, I guess. You could even just have his soul is fighting in hell and leave it at that, and not have any of those other characters from hell in here, and it would still make sense. Maybe I haven't read it all, so maybe towards the end it makes more sense. But
yeah, maybe it ties up in the second, but still, it's a little odd.
So then we cut back to Earth, and we see Clem is going to sit under a tree by himself, and he takes a bite of heart. We also learn that Hafi is she can see the ghost boy as well, which is weird. I don't know why she can. They don't explain it. They're just like, hey, I can see you. So, and then as Clem takes a bite of the heart, we get some more history where we see him. Is he locked up in a room, or is it just his room looks like a dungeon because it's like medieval times?
No, I think it's supposed to be like he's locked up. It looks like a jail cell.
Yeah, he is wearing like rags. So, and he's got blood on his hands though. So I don't know why or what happened. But then in Latin, is it Latin? I'm assuming it's Latin. He said, he's like on the wall written in blood is, "In God I have trusted, I fear not. What flesh can do to me." So yeah, he's just remembering that moment, and then all of a sudden he's surrounded by government agents, and the Americans are here to take him. So they literally take him. They take him to a compound in Italy. Oh, it says this is 09. On this issue, it says the date, which is 10/12/09.
That's true. This is the only time I totally think I glanced past that because it's the only time there's a date in this.
It's not in the 90s. So why did the like news reporter guy have a television camera that had a VHS tape in it?
That's true. I don't remember when did we stop really using VHS?
Much after or much before that.
Yeah, but I went to double check. The last movie that was released on VHS was in 2006. So yeah, that does seem really odd.
Yeah. That's what was like. Blockbuster did not have, they might have had leftover VHSs, but they weren't, I mean, Blockbuster wasn't around much past that either. So yeah. That's weird that's what it is. But anyway, the government has him. They're testing him. They're like, we must, of course, figure out what this monster is and why he's so invulnerable. So they're just like shooting him with guns and everything, but he's not fighting back. And the soldiers that are like attacking him are like, "We're sorry, bud. We don't want to do this, but what Uncle Sam says goes." Like you know, they're just following orders as they tend to do. So. But luckily for them, Clem is all like, "No, it's fine. I'm not going to hurt you because I'm not basically like I've never needed or wanted to hurt men. Only monsters I fight." So, they chain him up. They're like, "We're sorry." But the problem is the general that captured him is like, "No, we want to see what he can do. He needs to exhibit some sort of response." So what they do is they also have Hafi in confinement. They say she's in quarantine because they're like, we don't know what that monster is, and he might have given you space AIDS or whatever. So so they're like, we have you for your own protection, like under arrest basically. So they decide, they're like, what we're gonna do is you are going to we're gonna like put you in danger. And then we're going to tell him you're in danger. Or no, we're going to put you in danger, and then we're going to we're going to tell him, and then he's going to go like burst through the walls and say, we want to see what you can do. Unknowns to them is the ghost boy has followed them, and he saw them take Hafi to whatever prison cell they're holding her in. And he goes immediately through the walls to tell Clem that they have Hafi. And Clem's like, what? And then just immediately just breaks through everything. He doesn't kill any soldiers. He just takes their guns and smashes them. But he does put the general down, but like in a way that the guy just like got the wind knocked out of him, basically. They end up having to go like immediately right then. Another monster is attacking. And where is it? It's in Rome. That's right. It's like the Vatican.
Luckily, just down the street.
Yeah, luckily they were in Italy, and it just happens right there. So, but it's specifically the Vatican they're talking about, right? I don't know where the Vatican is in regards to Rome. Is it like in Rome?
Yeah, Vatican City is like just on the like in the middle or in the outskirts of Rome. I don't.
So if you go to Rome, you can easily just visit the Vatican. It's like the Cedar Park to Austin,
Basically.
Okay, okay, that works.
It is, yeah. Vatican City is they're right together with each other, basically.
Okay. And the funny thing I found about this was like Hoffy is very concerned about the ancient artifacts and treasures in like, oh my God, the treasures will be destroyed. I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, they'll find them again or whatever. I don't know. I mean, like when like the whole city's being torn apart by this giant monster that is made of dead people. It looks like a sandworm that's made of dead people. The treasures of the Vatican aren't the first thing that pops into my head.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I was like, is she Indiana Jones now all of a sudden?
Yeah, it belongs in a museum. But yeah, so as Clem goes to confront this monster that's destroying Rome, the monster itself is looking at him. You know, it's made of, like I said, an amalgamation of a bunch of dead people, and the dead people's bodies are like, we suffer, release us. Now, I don't know about you, but I totally figured this was coming in some sort of way, because I was like, why would they have a ghost boy like just appear out of nowhere for no reason, unless he's going to come into play to do something, to talk to dead people or something. And then that's what happens. Like Clem's fighting this worm made of dead people. It's not working. He's losing. And then the dead guy, the dead kid is like, wait, what if I talk to them and tell them to like release themselves? Like basically say like, come towards the light. So he does that. He talks to all the dead souls. They do follow into the lights, along with the boy. At first the boy's like, no, I want to stay with you. But Clem eventually talks the boy into going into the afterlife, wherever that is. And then from like the pile of dead corpses that are now rotting on the ground out and inside of the Vatican, this worm comes out. That is like a very small version of the giant sandworm that was there. And Clem smashes it on the ground, grabs the heart, takes it, and immediately eats it. And he falls asleep to go dream about his past, like has happened the last two times. But when he sleeps, we see the Russian mummy guy pop up again, and he's like, yeah, sleep. And then the fourth issue starts, and we learn a little bit more about Clem. We see he was some sort of berserker with the Vikings, but it seems like he was not liked by the Vikings he was with, except the one commander that was like in charge of him. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay.
So like everybody else on this ship was like, fuck this guy. I think because he just like killed like everything, and like it says that they couldn't like replenish their stocks and stuff after they murdered so much or whatever. Like, so I guess maybe he like, I don't know why they could, what do they mean by that? Like I was trying to figure out like, wait, so they win so much they're not stopping to like steal shit or what? Like
what it seems like to me is that like he's so good at killing things that he doesn't like, they don't get like downtime as far as to like get the spoils of war. Like they just keep moving on. So that makes them all be like, well, fuck this dude. Like,
so they just kill everybody and then like leave everything and then on to the next village.
Yeah.
Okay. That's weird. I don't understand. Also, is he supposed to be like a mythic figure now, like in this Nordic time?
I don't know if he's mythic or just the best fighter. Doesn't come off as mystic here. It just comes off as like, because that's one thing they're making a point to like he's using weapons here.
Yes, but also like he's asleep on the boat so the captain dies of old age or whatever, and then the rest of the crew that hates him, like, sees him on the deck of the boat, and he's like, it looks like he's meditating or something, and he doesn't wake at all as they put giant chains and an anchor around him, and then they throw him in the water to die. So, like, that's why I was like, is he mystical? Because he didn't wake up or anything, and it's like, and then he just walks out of the water, and they don't explain that.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. That's true. They don't. Again, we're getting all these little tidbits, but they're not giving us enough of like to make you like know what he is.
Yeah. So then we cut back to present time where he's asleep, remembering these, you know, horrible massacres that he did. And then we see the Russian zombie guy. I'm assuming he's Russian, like I said. He's the mummy guy. We'll say he's a mummy. Is like talking to him, touching his face, being all creepy and stuff. And then Hoffy runs up to be like, leave him alone. And then she's wrapped up by his bandages because his mummy bandages can wrap around her. And then she ends up like getting tied up in the bandages, but this wakes Clem up. So then he starts fighting the Russian mummy, but it's a little too late because the Russian mummy guy has called forth Bane, basically. He's called the Breeder, which is a creepy, weird name to call a bad guy.
I was so worried when they had the name of the Breeder. I was like,
I wasn't worried because this comic is not that kind of a comic, but if this was a different comic, I would definitely have been worried. Because it makes it sound like he's just going to breed you.
Yeah.
Against your will, we're assuming. But the Breeder goes after Clem, and then they have this big epic fight. Clem once again is losing, but Hoffy is like, wait, I know something about demons and shit. Like, we got to go to the library in the Vatican. It's the library that knows everything. So we're assuming that, I guess, the library didn't get smashed by the monster dead worm thing. And so her and the general, who is on site now too, run over to the Vatican library and they do some like Buffy research and they find the mask that this Breeder guy is wearing is the mask of Asmodeus, and he is a king of hell, and he has the strength of 72 legions, and yeah. So, but it also has like his weaknesses. It's like his character stat like chart in this Vatican book. So she rips out the page from the Vatican book and then runs out and is like,
she rips out the page of the really old book that she was just concerned about all these treasures being destroyed.
Yes, she destroys a treasure, but it's for a good cause. So just as it looks like Clem is going to get injured or like taken down, maybe the general and Hoffy show back up. She's got the page, but she's like, wait, I can't get close enough to Clem to tell him how to take this monster out. Can you distract him? And the general's like, no problem. And then he pulls out what looks like the noisy cricket from Men in Black, and he shoots it like a laser beam on the back of this monster. And then he's like, I've got a target painted for you, like Blackhawks shoot or whatever. So he calls him Big Daddy, or they call him Big Daddy, which I was like, for some reason, just reminding me of Independence Day, because that's like the call sign of Will Smith with his friend that dies.
Oh, that's right. Harry Connick Jr.'s character.
Yes, there you go. So anyway, they shoot missiles at the monster. The monster gets distracted enough so that Hoffy can go towards Clem, and she tells him how to defeat him, which I don't remember what it was. What was how to defeat? He must take a reverse communion. So you got to take the mask off, and he's got to take the blood and flesh of his child. Is that what it is? Of his children?
Of his children, yeah, which are not on Earth. So they're like, well, you've eaten a part of all of them basically by doing the thing. So their blood is in you. Yeah,
they didn't explain that this is like the dad of the other monsters that he's fought already. And so because he's taken a bite of their hearts, now they are inside of him. So his blood is their blood, and there you go. So he knocks off Asmodeus's mask, Asmodeus has like a big, ugly teeth mouth, and Clem just jumps right inside. And then all of a sudden, the monster holds his tummy like he's going to have diarrhea or throw up or something. And then Clem just bursts from his stomach holding the heart of the monster. And he immediately just starts chomping on it. So they did it. Good job. But as Clem passes out, because, you know, he bites the heart and immediately goes into his dreams again, they have forgotten that, and I don't know why they forgot this, but the mummy is still there, the Russian mummy guy, and he takes hold of Hoffy again, and then he does some sort of spell where he basically does the thing in, like, you know, Army of Darkness. He says, like, give me some sugar, baby, and it's all weird, creepy, and then, like, he's like, you must taste my blood, and then, like, and then she becomes bad, Hoffy, because when Clem comes back from his dream, he, like, Hoffy is freed, like basically the mummy guy lets her go, and he's like, what happened? And he goes and he sees Hoffy, and he goes to save her, and he's like, did he hurt you? And she's like, I don't think so. I feel all right. And then she says, I feel all right with you. But we see she's wearing black lipstick. So we know that she's been turned evil in some way, just like in Army of Darkness. That's my reference. I wanted her to say, what is it? Like, I feel bad, but I feel good, or whatever the fuck she says when she gets turned in Army of Darkness.
I don't, something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Whatever. It's some bad line, and I thought, oh, that would be perfect right here. But yeah, that's where we're left. That's where we left hanging, with Hoffy turning evil, and he technically only killed 3, and I call it a half because the mummy didn't get killed, and now Hoffy's bad. So he killed 3 monsters and potentially fought 1 or 2 of them. So that's the end of it. No sea monsters to be had, unfortunately. So, John, what would you give it, and what'd you think?
He did fall again. He was on a boat a couple of times, and he fell in the sea with a big anchor. So, if so facto, it was somehow sea related. But anyway, it was fun. You know, it had enough to keep me, like, engaged and, like, okay, what's going on? How is this all working? I wish that we would have got a little more. I feel like every time we got one of the cutaways to get a little bit about his past, it was like, he's here at, you know, this location, but then you're like, well, what the fuck is going on there? Where is he? He's okay. Maybe he's in old Scotland, or old what used to be with old names for England, but okay, so what's going on? He's in a cell, and that's like 2 of them. Like, he's in this, like, seemingly prison cell, and then, like, he's, like, growing old or whatever in the last one, and, like, he's, again, I guess, kind of figuring out that he's got, like, some kind of power or whatever, maybe some kind of gift, but we don't know. Like, I don't know.
Maybe he's a Highlander.
Oh, that would be. There can be only one.
Yeah, we just gotta have, like, Prince soundtrack in the back, or no, not Prince. Prince of the Universe by Queen play in the background.
So yeah, I don't know. I think a hit, if he would have been a sea captain who got mystical powers, would have been a little better than a monk. Because that's his look. He's got the big, like, Gorton's fisherman beard.
He does have that
on
beard.
this, like,
the Amish
hulkling
beard.
Body. Yeah. But outside of that, like, it was still fun. The monsters were overall pretty cool. The big worm and the frost monster were cool. The Centaur was really quick. I don't know. He didn't seem to. He gave up his weakness too easily.
He's like, haha, I'm glad you didn't stab me with this one knife that can kill me. He's like, thanks, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall it was fun. I'm curious. I might read the second one just to see how it if it pulls everything together. But I still, I enjoyed it overall. And the art was definitely fun. Like I said, it was very kind of Hellboy reminiscent, and there's some interesting supernatural elements to it. I just kind of wish we would got a little more clarity on things. At least answered questions more than it created more questions. So so that being said, I would give this one a 6. It was fun. It was a little bit better than average, I think. Like but it did create a little bit more of a like, oh my God, like just give me some give me some real answers. Like I feel like I'm pulling teeth here.
Okay. A 6 from John. As you were talking, I was trying to think of what I'm going to give it, because I thought this was pretty mid. Like, so much so I could just kind of glance at the word bubbles and I knew like what was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like just from the keywords that I would pick up in the word balloons, I'm like, oh, like this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. So I feel like it was pretty by the numbers. I mean, obviously maybe the second volume kind of like ties everything into like a really nice bow and makes it cool. But just as this first volume is, I was just like, huh. It was kind of repetitive because it's like, go to this place, fight monster. Go to this place, fight monster. Go to this place, fight monster. I thought the weird like American section was weird. I'm like, you could have just taken this out and just had like whatever you put in the second volume be in the first volume and have it be 6 issues instead of 8 or whatever. I'm assuming it's 8 because this is 4. The other ones, I'm assuming 4.
It will, yeah. Just quick, I read the quick synopsis and it says, yeah, like the breeder's defeated and his monstrous offspring have been defeated, but the mysterious wound has set his sights on the anchor's companion, Hafi. Oh, okay, I guess that's what that creature's called, the wound, the mummy, a Russian mummy guy. I never got his name the entire time.
Yeah, they never name him. So.
Yeah, the anchor must choose between learning the truth about his past or saving the life of the ones he loved. I guess he loves Hafi. You know, I'm wondering if it's going to be the person who saved him in the afterlife is like Hafi's like reincarnated or something. That's the only kind of other vibe I was getting.
The woman? Okay, so there is a panel where the guy yells, where Clem yells, Hafi, when he sees her on the ground. And then the Russian mummy guy yells, the monk.
Okay, so maybe, yeah. That's got to be, because she also, it's weird that like she could see the ghost boy and then she could see the mummy guy.
Yeah, so maybe she's supposed to be the reincarnation of the monk that saved him in the monastery?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I will say that it's just on Hoopla, but the reviews on this one are better than the part 1. So maybe it ties up in a nice little bow. Okay,
well, that being said, I like a 5 is even a little too good for me because I like could just guess exactly what was going to happen.
For sure, no, be brutally honest.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to give this a 4.
Okay.
I just didn't care at all about anything in it. I thought it was pretty damn mid, and kind of surprised that it, if it is this simple, the things that were confusing that didn't make sense, like the things I pointed out about like, wait, the moose helmet isn't part of him, it's a moose helmet, you know, like what are we doing in hell, and wait, is that tied to that moose guy, or like how does this make sense? So like none of that's explained, and like some of it I think is just not, it's a mistake or whatever, you know, like it's not just like, oh, you just have to wait for volume 2 to understand. I think it is just like sloppy writing a little bit. So I don't know, to me. And then the same with like the Viking thing. I'm like, okay, so he was a berserker, like a regular person, or how is he different from the other Vikings, and why? So much so that like they can't even like fund themselves. I feel like that would be the most important thing about Vikings. Like Vikings didn't just show up and murder people to murder them. They were there for goods and thieving and raping and pillaging and all that stuff. So why do they only do the killing part? And it's never explained, you know? And I feel like they just needed him to not do that in this, so you wouldn't think he's a bad guy or something. I don't know. But either way, I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. So I'm going to give it a 4. You're going to give it a 6. With that being said, thank you, patrons, for voting. Even though this had nothing to do with Shark Week, we'd like to thank you all. Hoku, Otaku Mike, Christian, Kalia, Kevin, James, Craig, Michael, and Beth. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you. And we also want to let you know we are changing our format a little bit. Going forward, we're just going to limit it down to one episode a month for the free version, and then we're going to do a Patreon as usual, and the patrons will now vote on the Patreon episode instead of the second episode each month. We're just a little too bogged down with things going on in our lives, and also just I got the Hellblazer and Swamp Thing podcast now, so I just needed to get a little bit more time in my life. So with that being said, if you would like to be a Patreon member, you can go to patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word, and sign up there for any of the tiers, and you will get the exclusive episode no matter which one you sign up for. And with that, we will see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.